morning to everybody out there in the Let's Talk Football space. How we doing today? Welcome in. This is Let's Talk Football, the fantasy football show. Welcome to the show where we give you the last minute fantasy advice right before kickoff for everybody that needs it, because I know I have a lot of questions and I'm going to throw them out there and see if anybody wants to help me out as well. We have a new first commenter.
Kyle.
It's Kyle?
Yeah.
Is it Kyle?
Yes.
Woo, take notes, boobs. It takes time to be a winner. Good job, Kyle. Way to get in there. I am one of the co-hosts with the queen of football herself, Ash, my lovely wife, and then the man, the myth, the legend, the Helen, the David, right? Look at David here on time. Welcome in, David. Thanks for being here today, and everybody else joining us. We got a few segments here we're going to go
Knock
over.
it off, Andrew. We beat you fair and square. It's fine.
I deserve some kind of trophy for being on time.
I'm telling you, you do.
Well,
you do.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But looks like Ash might have been messaging Kyle before the show started and said, hey, come
no,
first.
I didn't. Kyle messaged me.
The cheaters.
We did kind of cheat. It's okay. We did it. They're like, are you ready to go on? I'm like, wait, no, I have to do something quick.
Ash is a punk.
I literally woke up to Kyle saying, hey, tell me when you're going on. Like, immediately, the second you go on.
He had to be the first comment. So, how'd week one go, David? How's the overall standing after week one? How are we feeling?
I actually I won in the Dynasty League, which I wasn't expecting. I don't see a lot of wins coming this year in the Dynasty League. It's going to be a slow process over there. I was able to take down a win in one of our leagues, and then we're not going to talk about the other one.
We'll talk about that one.
Yeah, but we don't have to.
I did. Did you do? I was 5-2.
Damn.
You're only in 7 leagues?
Yeah, the one I lost in, I lost bad in both of them. The ones I did lose in, very bad. I played David in both leagues this week.
Oh, yeah.
And
we got a host battle.
I beat Dylan by a lot. So that was exciting. And then I also won in the Dynasty League. Both of them, actually, and I don't feel good about either of them. I just hate how deep those teams go. And you draft kind of with, like, the future in mind, so my teams don't look like win right now teams, but they also don't really look like win in the future teams either, so I don't know. I don't know what I was doing there.
I feel that. Ash. It's both our first time in Dynasty Leagues, right?
Yeah, I don't have a fantasy mindset.
Because we were talking about it before the draft and how we might, change our strategies going into the Dynasty format and coming out of it. And now the season's starting. I'm kind of wishing that I just gone with my normal drafting strategy. Because I went after a quarterback early because in my mind, I'm like, oh, I want one of these young, talented quarterbacks for the next, 5 to 8 years, and I probably could have skipped that move because I need a running back.
That's how I feel. My bench is not. It's bad. It's really bad. If one player gets hurt on my team, I'm absolutely screwed. But looking at kind of everybody's team, it's like a similar thing because of how many people were in that league and how deep everyone's lineups are. So,
yep.
I don't know.
And then, you could have waited on a quarterback like I did. I drafted Trevor Lawrence and Matt Ryan super late, traded for Aaron Rodgers to get somebody I can start now, which has been a terrible start. I drafted 3 running backs to start, so that you think would have been good. The fact that one of them is J.K. Dobbins, hasn't played, and the other o's Alvin Kamara, who is also out this week, is a great start. So, my dynasty's off to a lovely start. But I did play David in a league. Whoop that ass. So that was cool.
David, I think, is projected to beat me in both.
got the dub early against David. That's nice.
Oh! You know who I did beat though? You know who else I beat? Kyle. He was talking shit to me all week. I almost said a bad word. All week. And I came out and beat that ass. It was great. It was in Dynasty too. I was scared, but I did it. Let's ride.
Yeah, I had a couple. I think I had a losing record overall. I have too many teams to keep track of how good I did, but I know I beat David. I almost beat Alex. That one didn't came up short. I had a lot of
question.
Yeah.
Ash managed to keep up with 7 leagues and have a winning record.
Let me know when you get to 11 leagues.
Crown.
I guess that wasn't a question. It was a statement. Proceed.
That was a comment, not a question.
Yeah, that's about it. So that's how the first week went. There was a lot of craziness. I think there was a lot of unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we did pick games who we thought were going to win each game.
Oh, we don't need to talk about that.
And
I'm so talented.
Ash.
I'm the most talented person on this universe.
So there were 16 games total.
In the comments, just guess how many you think I picked right. And if you read the post and you went back to last week's post and already did the math, you're a cheater. But just, what do you think? How many do you think I picked right? What would be your guess?
Somebody got 5 right and beat Ash. Let's just say that.
Wow.
Kyle went 1-2 week 1.
Oh, that's
only
hard.
lost by 0.7 each. Those are always the worst. Anyway, I'm gonna spoil the fun. Ash only got 1 game right last week. One whole game.
It takes talent to be so wrong when you're not even trying.
That's impressive. And David, speaking of Survivor, hey, you saved $20 because they didn't let you in. Think about it that way, because the Broncos lost.
Yeah, I ended up being real happy about that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if you. So there was 325 entries. After week 1, we're down to 117.
God,
absolutely.
What were the games? What? Cincinnati, Denver.
The Niners was a big
Niners.
one.
That wasn't as big. The Titans to the Giants was a big one. And then the other big one was the Colts. The Colts tying
the Colts tie
wasn't a win, and like 60 people had the Colts. Yeah, it was.
Man.
It was a wild.
I would have been so angry. 2 out of 3 years going out in week 1.
That's tough. So I'm actually in this exact situation. I have Dobbins and Kamara, and we were just talking about it earlier. So if you can't read it, David, it's Kenyon Drake or Mark Ingram with Dobbins and Kamara out. So it's basically their backups.
Mark Ingram's coming off an ankle thing too.
Yeah, he was questionable this week. He didn't look good week 1, and Kamara was banged up week 1, so we already kind of got a glimpse of him. Now we also got a glimpse of Kenyon Drake because he started. I personally, we were talking about this earlier, I think I want Kenyon Drake. I just think there's more upside there. The Bucs defensive line is much better than the Dolphins defensive line, so I think the Bucs shut down Mark Ingram. And Kenyon Drake has a better pass catcher. So if you're in PPR, I like Kenyon Drake.
Is there anybody else available?
Yeah, first off,
on the waivers,
I don't love either of these options.
Players that were out last week for the Ravens are out this week, and Kenyon Drake did not look good. So I would go Ingram and hope that he steps up, and hopefully that ankle isn't too big of an issue.
I'm definitely concerned for Baltimore after the way that game went last year in this matchup. So I would have leaned that way with Sid, but New Orleans has had a lot of success against Tampa, and I'm worried for Tommy Boy and that offense. So I can actually see the Saints running the ball a lot today, even without Kamara. So that's a coin flip, and I'm with Ash. I would go look for a better option.
Andrew's not happy we're talking about the Saints. I mean, I agree that look for a better option. The problem is I'm in a league, the one league I have both of them, there's not a better option.
Yeah.
Like Kyle Juszczyk is the top available running back. It's just, so if those are who you got, Burkhead, Gainwell, Ramondre Stevenson, not too many after.
Burkhead.
I like Burkhead and
guys.
I like Ramondre Stevenson as well. The receiving back versus the Steelers is going to do a lot better than the ground and pound guy. The Steelers defense is going to be much better against the run than against the pass. So I like Ramondre Stevenson and Burkhead over both of those guys.
You're saying Ramondre over Ingram and Drake? I would agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was real high on Ramondre last week, and New England was not able to make as much of a game of that as I thought they would be able to. But I'm not giving up on Stevenson. I actually picked him up in one of our leagues going into this week. And yeah, the pass catching, like you said, I would agree on that.
People need to chill on like dropping players that are supposed to be good this year, week 1. I've seen some leagues where people are just like dropping like flies, and I'm like, it was week 1, guys. Mike Williams scored like 0 points week 1 and then turned around and scored like 20-some points. Like, y'all gotta breathe and trust that. Like, I'm not giving up on Cam Akers yet. I'm really close, but I'm not gonna give up yet. But some of these, I've seen some people get dropped. I'm like, pump the brakes. Like, just because they didn't look hot week 1 doesn't mean. And then you have those players that look hot week 1 and then never do a single thing after.
The Sammy Watkins effect.
Yeah.
He commented again. He said he has Dobbins, Kamara, Pittman, and Gabe Davis. So all are like questionable or injured or out. So he's forced to make some changes. Yeah, definitely.
Fair. I have a league like that too. I can't.
Just pick up who you can. Don't drop any of them.
Yeah.
Put the phone down. Don't watch your fantasy matchup this week. Keep the faith and just come back next week.
Yeah, I would say you're probably going to take the L this week, but you have some studs on your team, so hopefully they come back.
Yeah.
First of all, Andrew, stop yelling at me. Second, Sean said Tua or Lamar, they are playing each other, so this is a head-to-head matchup. I personally like Lamar because the running aspect of Lamar's game just makes him so much more fantasy relevant. And especially with no running backs, he's going to be their running back. So I like Lamar there. And then Andrew yelled at us that Lockett, Evans, are notorious for putting up 0-point games and coming back with 30-point games a couple weeks straight. Yeah, so just chill on those guys.
Lockett always does that, but Lockett will have like 0, 40, 0, 5, 6, 30. It's like, what is Lockett doing out here?
Do we think that's because of Lockett or because Russ always never let him become irrelevant?
I don't know. Russ really is doing some Russ things and being disappointing to me again this season.
Yeah.
I'm throwing, after I just said don't throw people out week 1, I'm throwing Russell Wilson out. I don't like Russell Wilson, though.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for asking questions. Much appreciated. Real
quick, I kind of want to go back because there's a certain team out there that you have claimed has solved the Lamar Jackson issue, a certain defense out there. And you say it every year. And that would be your defense. And last year, Miami did the exact same thing to Lamar. They kept him in the pocket. They forced him to throw the ball. And Miami just embarrassed Baltimore last year. You don't see that happening again this year? I mean, Brian Flores is gone, but they have the same defensive coordinator. I don't see them having a vastly different game plan going against that team.
I can see that.
But you expect a different result?
So the thing is Lamar versus Tua. I'm not saying Lamar is going to go out and put 50 on him. I also don't think Tua is going to have a good day because the Ravens defense is also good. So you got to take that into account. I do think if Miami can do it again, the Steelers have done it multiple times, sir, not just one game. So we have solved it because we've done it more than once. Miami did it once. You're correct, but I just personally would take Lamar because of the rushing aspect. I think Miami and Baltimore both have good defenses. So if they're both going to play the quarterback well, I want the guy that can at least do it on the ground if he gets the chance versus the guy that can't.
Okay. I'm going the other way. I'm going with the guy with all the shiny toys.
That's fair. That's very fair. I mean, yeah.
I don't think they'll be too far off of each other.
I love Lamar. I'll take Lamar 9 out of 10 weeks over Tua. Sorry, Bobby. But this week I'm going to go with Tua.
Since we are answering a bunch of questions, we're just going to jump straight into the questions and answers show. So let me play this real quick. So since we're going to just jump into that, we do have another fantasy question from somebody out there. It says, should I trust Swift today? And who should I rocking the flex with a full PPR? Hines, Hollywood Brown, or Travis Etienne? Nyheim Hines, Marquise Brown, or Travis Etienne. I personally have Swift in a few leagues. I have removed him from my starting lineup if I could. There's one league that just the bench just isn't good enough. So even on a limited snap count, I'm still going to roll with Swift. Last week, seeing Jamal Williams getting a lot of the goal line work makes me nervous for Swift. So if they're going to limit him and he doesn't get goal line work, it does make me nervous. If you have a viable option, I would switch him out personally.
I would take one of those running backs you have right there, put them in Swift out, put one of them in, and then play Hollywood Brown in your flex.
You could do that. I don't mind. I like Nyheim Hines a lot this week. I think he was going to be one of my deeper guys to look at. With Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce both out for the Colts, I think he gets an elevated role and almost plays slot receiver for them. So and he's a great pass catching back. They're going to set up a lot of stuff for him in a full PPR. Definitely like Nyheim Hines this week. And yeah, it might not be a bad idea to play Hines as your starter, sit Swift, and take Marquise Brown over it, just to guarantee just so you're not limiting yourself with the.
That's what I would do.
Swift.
I don't like playing running backs in my flex though. That's just like a personal preference. I never play running backs in my flex unless I absolutely have to. And like my flex running back this week, I think I have Zeke and AJ Dillon. So I know they're going to do at least decent. I just don't like running backs in the flex.
That's unanimous. With Pittman out, I completely agree. The pass catching is probably going to elevate him over those two. I think that Kyler Murray and the entire Arizona offense has a rough day. I think the pass rush from Oakland is going to give them problems, and with all the missing pieces they have, it's going to be a lot easier to lock down Hollywood. So yeah, all the way around.
I like it. Andrew said, here's a question. How does someone go from tanking to winning in Dynasty? Bro, I started Eno Benjamin as my starting running back.
Did you win?
And I won. Yes. I am 1-0 in that league. That is terrible. Everybody should be ashamed.
That's embarrassing, dude.
I had Justin Fields, Eno Benjamin. It's a super flex league, so you start two quarterbacks. My second quarterback was Jacoby Brissett. I mean, I went in looking very dim. Came home with the dub.
How did you win?
I'm just
wow. Whoever played you, that says more about you than it does about.
Paris Campbell is going to eat today.
I'm playing him. Let's go.
I also have a guy for our next segment about that as well. Kyle agrees with you. And then yeah, so
I like people that catch the ball. I draft like I care about running backs more, but then I never will play them in my flex. But if you watch me draft, I get my two running backs and then I don't look at them again. I don't. I get my two guys and then I will go receiver the rest of the entire draft. So the draft did not go running back, and I got Justin Jefferson. The league where there are no kickers and no defense, I had a completely different strategy because I'm like, I want a guy to eat because I have now 500 flex positions that I'm not going to play running backs in, so I need receivers, and I whooped Dylan, and it was great.
I have a question for you guys. So I need to start 2. Brandon Cooks going against Patrick Surtain, who looked really good week 1. Adam Thielen, who only had 6 points last week. Damian Harris going against the Steelers' run defense. Or Jahan Dotson.
I would do Dotson, and
I even have Brandon Ayuk or Julio Jones as well. But it is pick 2.
Who was the second one again?
Adam Thielen.
I would
Cooks.
do Thielen.
So this is start 2?
Start 2.
I would do Thielen and Dotson. Jetta just went off, but I think the Eagles will do a better
Julio
job.
Jones is officially out as of right now, so no Julio.
Shocking.
Who is?
Julio.
Who does Houston play? I like Cooks too. Maybe
they play Denver.
I'm really, really torn on Dotson in that. I think that Minnesota and Philly could be the Philly-Detroit from last week and could be one of the highest scoring games this week. So Thielen's intriguing. Harris, I'm just way too up on Ramondre this year, and I think he's going to slowly take over that role. They're always going to be in a committee, but I would have to go Cooks and Dotson. Dotson had a great week 1, and just the upside of both of those, I think they both have a higher ceiling because no matter what Thielen does, he's still going to be the number 2. Dotson, I think by the end of the year could be their number 1. We'll see.
So you're taking Dotson?
I like Thielen for sure. Then it's kind of a toss-up between Dotson and Cooks. Who does Houston play?
Denver. So he's going to line up against Patrick Surtain, who shut down PK.
Maybe not that then. Maybe do Thielen and Dotson. I don't. But Cooks is like the guy. I always do this though, where I'm like, I have to pick the guy, and then the guy doesn't do the guy things, and then I wish I didn't pick the guy. I wouldn't give up on Thielen. I feel like people are like, Thielen, but week 1.
I said that's tough. I'm definitely torn on Thielen because I think that
Ayuk is really nice. Intriguing as well. Ayuk didn't do anything, but they also were, like you said, in a monsoon. So what was he supposed to do? So I like Ayuk too. Who do they play? They play a very bad team
Seattle. Too. Seahawks.
I don't know. I like that too. That's hard. You got.
I don't know.
Sometimes it stinks when you have too many options because then you pick the wrong guy. It seems every time. I like Thielen for sure. Thielen would be a lock for me. Yeah, we said Kamara was out. Look at Kyle. No. That's not a salty Falcons fan talking.
Wow. Julio out? That's never happened before. This is how he's It's like someone said that last week. Wonder who.
Didn't have big Kyle. No way.
Salty.
I don't know. I think I'm good on mine.
Got any questions, David?
I say, do you have any I don't know who to play?
I
will give you the absolute worst.
What do you guys think about Randall Cobb this week?
I hate Randall Cobb.
The as far as the Packers receiving room, how are you feeling about the next couple of weeks? Obviously, Watson with that huge drop. We know how Aaron Rodgers is. I mean, even his elite receivers that he's had in his career, he never showed them any respect in their rookie seasons. And after that big drop, I mean, what do you guys think is the hierarchy in that wide receiver room?
I think Lazard
is back too, because I have Lazard in the league and I'm playing him because somebody is out. I can't even remember right now. So many people out.
The thing is Aaron Rodgers doesn't have another guy to go to not feed the rookies. So I think Christian Watson is going to have a bounce back. I think Rodgers forces it to him a few times to get him going, which is not something Aaron Rodgers does. So, I mean, I'm definitely calling a way off script play. I just think listening to Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show, he loves what Christian Watson can do, his size, his speed, all that stuff. So he's like praising him a lot. I just think he's gonna try and get him more involved and like force him to be the guy, almost like, all right, come on, young buck, I'm gonna make you who you're supposed to be, type thing.
Quick question: were those comments from McAfee this week after game one?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't see that.
Okay. Yeah, they talked on Tuesday, and he was just saying that there's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be growing pains, and that's what he talked about. He's like, but he's just so talented. Hasn't had a guy that size before that can run like him, and so I'm not starting any Packers receivers just yet. I'm going to still ride the Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon train until that falls off. Now, however, there is a bet on FanDuel that's kind of interesting. It's literally called, does he still own them? And it's Aaron Rodgers to throw 3 touchdowns. So I thought that was kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I found that last night and I was dying. That was too good. All right, would you play Lazard or Devontae Smith?
Alan Lazard or Devontae Smith?
Devontae Smith literally didn't catch the ball last week.
I like Alan Lazard personally. I think Jalen Hurts' hierarchy of his passing targets goes A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, and then Devontae Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like Jalen Hurts' number 3 receiver.
I hate Devontae Smith. This is why I don't draft Eagles players, because then I get extra mad when they do bad in my lineup.
It's like, I sacrificed my morals and you gave me nothing. Yeah. Yep.
It's bad. I'm trying to think. So you think AJ Dillon over like Hunter Renfrow? I don't like starting running backs in my flex though.
Who was all over AJ Dillon all season, all off season?
I wasn't, and I'm still not, especially not in my flex. So I just
Russell Gage is playing officially, so Gage is in. Julio's out. So you got Evans, Russell Gage, and then the 5th, 6th, and 7th option for the Buccaneers now. So that's kind of going to be an interesting one. All right, so since we don't have any more pressing questions right now, we're just going to jump into our next segment, which is...
Benjamin. He was the top guy on the
So we got Desperate Times call for desperate players. This is for all those people that are like, oh my God, I have Alvin Kamara, J.K. Dobbins, Julio Jones, Chris Godwin.
Do you want to hear who
Gabe
I have?
Davis.
You want to hear mine? I have Keenan Allen, J.K. Dobbins, Godwin, Michael Gallup. That's my bench right now. Looking real good.
And now you're kind of reaching deep for some players that, if you're in a 14-team league, they still might be available, stuff like that. So I can start. I have a couple that I wanted to rattle off just to kind of go from there. So everybody's thinking that the Paris Campbell for the Colts is going to be that guy. He should be the number 1. But I would have everybody look at Austin Doolin. He is going to be the number 2 this week. Should be available in a ton of leagues because he is way down on that receiving list. Matt Ryan's got to throw to somebody. They're going to have to throw it. So I like Austin Doolin as a super deep threat. Again, this is desperate times. Like if you need somebody, I like Austin Doolin.
Absolutely nobody to start. Yeah.
And then another player to keep an eye on, because Gabe Davis is questionable and they're not sure, and he doesn't play until tomorrow. That doesn't leave you many options if you're going to try and ride that out. So look on the waiver wire for Isaiah McKenzie and Jamison Crowder. Both of them are somebody that you should at least stash on your bench for this week, just so if it comes down to a game time decision and Gabe Davis can't go, you have one of the backup receivers for the Bills that you can plug in, and you're not left with a zero because you were hoping he played.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. In one league, I have enough players that I just swapped out Gabe Davis for somebody else. But in the Dynasty League, where I don't have hardly anybody, I have Gabe Davis in, but I have McKenzie on my bench ready to go if he can't play, because there's not really a lot of options. And I don't want to take Gabe Davis out and then he ends up playing and then I hate myself. But I also want to leave myself with some backup. So I got Isaiah McKenzie in one league. That's a good one.
And then before you go, David, we have a question here that popped up I want to get to real fast. Sit or start for quarterback, Matthew Stafford or Kyler Murray? And then for running back, Najee Harris or Chase Edmonds or James Robinson.
I definitely love Chase Edmonds today. Last year, the Ravens were terrible against receiving backs. Like we talked about today, that's going to be both of those defenses are going to play those quarterbacks well. I think the dump off is going to be to his best friend. And I think Chase Edmonds has a huge day. Quarterback, Stafford all day. He's going against the Falcons. And like I stated earlier, I think Kyler Murray's going to have his hands full with the Raiders.
Pass rush is insane for the Raiders.
Yeah. And then what was the other?
So it was pick. So the three running backs were Najee, Chase Edmonds, and James Robinson. You had to start one, or sit or start. I think I'm starting Stafford, benching Murray. I'm starting Najee. I just spent too high of a draft pick to give up on him after 1 week.
You didn't have
to. Yeah, I'm not just going to drop him. I've also been a Chase Edmonds hater all off season. So I do, however, have been a James Robinson promoter and lover and blowing him up. I love James Robinson a lot, especially because he seems to be, again, like I said, right now he's out snapping Chase Edmonds or Travis Etienne just by a little bit, but he's outperforming him. So I like James Robinson. He looks good after his injury. So, I mean, unbiased, I still would probably start Najee because I'm not benching my first round pick after week 1. No. But I like James Robinson more than Chase Edmonds personally.
That's what I would do. Stafford, bench Kyler. There's not a lot of running backs I would start over Najee. Probably none on it. I mean, unless I like Jonathan Taylor, but you're not going to have both. So I'm not benching Najee for anything. His ankle thing is a little concerning, but I'm still not benching him. And they play the Patriots. I'm not worried about that. And then Edmonds, I would play over I'd probably play Edmonds over Robinson.
Yeah.
I like Edmonds, though. I'm not too high on Robinson just because ETN, I think, eventually will take over that role. Even they can say Robinson this and that, but
Andrew said the opposite, Kyler Murray and Chase Edmonds. He agreed with Edmonds for you guys.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm playing Najee, but if I'm debating the other two, I would do Edmonds.
I think the Steelers opened up the playbook a little more this week. They were, I think, conservative, just trying to not give the ball back to the Bengals too many times last week. The Patriots aren't as good as the Bengals, so I think they're going to have a little bit different of a game plan, and Najee should touch the ball more. That's why I like Najee. And he's going to get all the goal line work. I don't think Chase Edmonds gets goal line work. James Robinson should get goal line work. And pass catching, I think Edmonds and James Robinson are the same. Same with Najee. Najee's going to be a good pass catcher. But so that's
obviously your house is very, very plugged into all things Steelers. How worried are you about that injury? Do you think they're downplaying it? Because it looked brutal. And then they come out, they say, oh, it's not serious. But, I mean, we all have eyes. We saw that.
The fact that he was a full participation on Thursday's practice makes me think that really is okay. If he wasn't full participation, he was limited, and then full participation on like Friday or Saturday, like way later in the week, I would be a little bit more nervous. It's the Thursday practice that he was full participation that I'm like, okay, he's fine. Like, and the fact that he was a full participant and not limited means he can move and he likes it, or he's okay with it. And Najee is one of the toughest dudes I think I've ever seen in football.
That makes me worried, though, because you know those players that have that mentality that I'm going to go out there and I'm going to win it for my team, even if I'm hurt. Zeke does that, and he plays great for a quarter and then falls off the rest of the game because he probably shouldn't have been out there pounding it. But
I mean, we're definitely going to see, but I would rather personally, this is the week you're going to find out, right? Like we're going to know right now if it's going to be good long term or it's going to be affecting him. And I would rather not see 30 points on my bench for my first round pick because I tried to get cute versus playing my guy. He gets like 7 and it's like, all right, now I know going forward. But if he has 30, 35 points and he was my first round pick and I tried to be cute week 2, like, you know what I mean? I would beat myself up more for that than I would riding with him.
I think just makes me nervous for like long-term purposes, like moving forward, because if he re-aggravates it or whatever, it just stinks. I mean, that's running backs for you, though. Yeah,
and this definitely could be a different conversation going into next week. We'll get more for watching the game today, but that's just my take on it. What you got for desperate?
Better offensive coordinator too.
I know it's so bad.
You know what? At least you have an offense because we don't. We don't even have Amari Cooper. We don't have Gallup. We don't have Dak. We don't have anybody.
Did you know there was only one team not to score a touchdown last week?
Yeah, it was the Dallas Cowboys. I'm aware. You don't hear me praising the Cowboys.
That's true.
Yeah, well, you know, Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears and Tom Brady owns the Cowboys, so
it's fine.
Moving along.
7-0.
You got any desperate plays? Desperate times calls for desperate plays.
Actually, Isaiah McKenzie was like my number one because everybody started dropping him after week 1. He was out there. He was available. I thought that was an easy pickings right there. Obviously, Najee's backup, but then Najee came. You know, Najee looks like he's going to be good to go. Pretty much the guys we already covered as far as Pittman, Kamara, their backups, who we think is going to come out in those games. Yeah, I think I'm good.
You want to hear the craziest person I got off the waiver wire this week? Somebody dropped J.K. Dobbins. And I've never picked up a player so fast off the waiver wire. And now I have Najee, Zeke, Sanders, Dobbins. Like, I have way too many running. It's a 1-flex league. Play 2 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex. And I have way too many running backs. But it is fine. Because I was about to let J.K. Dobbins hit the waiver and me be like, yeah, no, I don't need him. Like, no.
Wow.
What the heck? My mind was blown.
You know that team's going to be cursed, though, right?
Probably.
I do believe I just heard you say Sanders. Would that be a Miles Sanders?
Yeah, he's on my bench, so it's fine. The second I need to play him is the second my team will absolutely score 0 points, the whole team. He scored a touchdown last week, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And then I wanted so bad to go to Andrew and be like, ha! Miles Sanders out here scoring touchdowns, not Gainwell, but then guess who scored a touchdown?
Gainwell.
They all scored touchdowns.
And then I was like, you've got to be kidding me. But then guess who also scored a touchdown? Scott. And I'm like, this is a joke, right? Because there was 1 week last year. I don't know what I probably had Miles Sanders. And I was like, nobody else. And Miles Sanders was out, and I needed another one. And I think I picked up Scott, and he scored literally 0 points. There was just 1 week where I was like shuffling between Eagles running backs and none of them did anything. And then they all 3 came out week 1 and scored touchdowns. And I was so mad. And then I couldn't even go talk crap because Gainwell ended up scoring.
Yep. Yeah. I got bit by the Boston Scott Mirage last year.
So did I. So bad.
All right, guys, we're coming down to the end here. If you guys have any questions, or anybody listening out there, please drop them in. We'll still get them in. We got about 10 or so more minutes left. We are going to do one of our last segments here, though. And this segment is brought to you by... This is the bets segment of the show. We just give you a bet that we like, something fun, something to throw money at, because I myself am definitely a gambling addict and love to get this in. That was Squid Rips Cards. That's myself on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. Follow the page. Appreciate you. And so, David, do you have any bets in or any bets that you like for this week?
Cincinnati money line, I think is a sure thing.
Absolutely. You guys better be smashing that money line.
He recently received an inheritance and a large sum of money. I think it's a pretty sound financial decision.
I would agree with that.
That's all I got for you.
That's a sad one, but I would agree with it.
How about yourself?
I like to bet, like, it'll give you 5 players, and it's like, well, any of the 4 to score touchdowns. So
4 of the 5. 4 of the 5.
Yeah. So I will definitely be doing some of those. I think the one that I liked, I'll find it. Give me a second.
So I'll rattle off some.
Any of the 4: Swift, Gibson, Najee, Tyreek Hill, and DJ Moore. That's the one I'm betting.
You need 4 touchdowns from those 5 players.
Not 4 touchdowns combined, because that's a different bet that you can do. But touchdowns, 4 of those people have to score a touchdown.
Who'd you take?
It's who did I just say?
So it's pre-selected. She can't pick.
I can't pick. It's like a specials featured red zone specials bet on FanDuel, and it's Swift, Gibson, Najee, Tyreek Hill, and DJ Moore. Last week I made like 3 of these bets. No, 2. I think 2 of these bets. 3 players scored. I only needed
puppy.
I only needed 1 more from each one, and it was Eagles players that didn't end up scoring for me, so that was great. So I blame the Eagles, and I will make sure that Eagles players are never in my bet again.
And then, so I got a couple. I'm going to give you 3. They're going to get more unlikely as I go. So I'm going to start with a nice little first half under 22.5 points in the first half of the Dolphins-Ravens game. There's a lot of injuries in that game. I think they're going to I think the defenses are going to play really well to start. So I'm going to take the first half under 22.5 points there. That's if they score 3 touchdowns and that's it, I still win. So I like that one. And then there's does he still own them? Aaron Rodgers throw 3 touchdowns at plus 175. I'm going to take that because he does still own them, and he always has a bounce back game after a bad game. I personally think so. And then I have my underdog money line parlay. All these, I have 3 teams that are currently the underdogs based on the spread, and I think they're all going to win. So I parlayed them together. I have the Saints to upset the Bucks. I have the Steelers to beat the Patriots. And I have the Texans to beat the Broncos. Basically, the Bucks didn't look good week 1. The Saints did, coming back against the Falcons. It is in New Orleans. Tom Brady is 0-4 against the Saints as a Buccaneer. So I like the Saints divisional matchup. I think they're, even without Kamara, I still like the Saints. The Steelers, I mean, if you can't guess it, it's in Pittsburgh. Anyway, moving along. Next one. The Texans played good against the Colts. They tied. They didn't win. They were 10.5 point underdog and tied that game. The Broncos didn't look good against Seattle, lost in Seattle. It is in Denver, so that makes me nervous, and I definitely see a bounce-back game, but I liked the odds too much, and I can see the Texans actually pulling that out. So that's my other long odds one. I got even a longer odds if you would like it. It's first touchdown scores for 3 games, little parlay of Saquon Barkley to score the first touchdown in the Giants-Panthers game, Jonathan Taylor to score the first touchdown in the Colts-Jags game, and Nick Chubb to score the first touchdown in the Browns-Jets game.
Parlay those all together?
Yep. I win $800 off of a $3 bet, so hopefully that comes to fruition. But those are my gambling addiction bets that today. Some of them. I didn't give you all of them because
we'd be here all day. And there will be many more made
during the day for sure. Any more that
I
you
like
like?
it.
No, I just am betting. I bet the Super Boost for Aaron Jones to score a touchdown and the Packers to cover.
Oh, I didn't know that
minus
wasn't a boost earlier.
6.5. I'll bet more touchdown scores. My brother's already texted me to put bets in for him. So that's what I will be doing.
Well, yeah. Any last minute words of advice, encouragement, trash talk to Ash since you're paying her in 2 leagues, David?
Both
Like
leagues. And I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you did, no, I'm not going to talk trash because she's probably going to beat me twice.
Can't talk. I get very quiet.
The projections are real close in both.
Oh, yeah. I'm projected to
funny.
lose in both. But I
No.
also was not anymore.
Because, I swapped out Kamara. We were at 50% each in one. I think that was Jerry World. That's the no defense, no kicker league.
Yes.
Where I think we're dead even in that one.
Oh, yeah. You're projected to beat me by like 1 point. It's literally 50-50. And then in the Let's Talk Football one, I'm projected to win, actually.
Because that's
because
the
you have
one I just
Kamara in
lost.
still. Make sure you take Kamara out.
I just lost Kamara and Pittman in that one.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah.
This one you have Swift in too. No, that's the other one.
Chase Edmonds to the rescue.
Yeah. Mike Williams scored a bunch of points though, so that's helping you out already.
And then Steven, my roommate is actually playing Sid, which is the reason why he just went back to bed. He doesn't want to go over 2 Sids with me. So he's scared.
100%. Makes sense. All right, guys, that is going to wrap this up. If you guys have fantasy football questions or anything like that, please check out the Let's Talk Football Facebook page. Ash posts a post every week to drop your questions in, and we will get to them on the show live on air so you can answer them. And that's it. We got another Let's Talk Football has another show right after this one, so please stay tuned. Let's Talk Football, I think it's just Sunday morning something. I can't remember exactly what it's called, so I apologize, Sean, for not doing that. Let me just obliterate this Patriots fan real fast. The Steelers aren't going anywhere today. Let's go Patriots. He's sadly mistaken. Justin, you are going down. And anyway, everybody enjoy your football Sunday. I appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Before that was Nicole. She's a Saints fan, so that really stinks. That really hurts her to have to bench.
All right, guys, have a great Sunday. Good luck to everybody except for the Patriots. We will talk to you guys later.
Go.